This is in-depth study of the Christ, the propitiation, the begotten Son, the law, the judge, the ruler, the standard, the Messiah, Yeshua HaMashiach, the one, the true Jesus Christ. Here on Understanding the Bible Radio, on Screen Study, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, on screen undeniable facts of Scripture.
Understanding the Bible Radio. This is Ron Saxton. Want to thank you guys for joining me, stopping in. We're talking about that book of Enoch. We're going into the book of Enoch. Helena's on the line with us. Getting it done. Sorry I'm late. All kind of stuff just ran together. Pushed it out the way from the 12 o'clock. That's all right, though. We're here. Ready to roll. Helena, how you doing? You're on mute, Helena. You're on mute.
I'm here.
Okay, good deal. Yeah, you got to remember, you be on mute when we come in. You got to remember. Yeah, good deal. If you guys are there, anybody's there, hit that like button, whatever have you. Say hi, hello. I want to say hello to you on Understanding the Bible Radio, where we study the true definitions of Scripture by the true Hebrew, Aramaic, and Koine Greek. I want to say Akwesa, stop by. Akwesa, how you doing? Good to see you. We're going in, man. We were talking about Prophet of Enoch, Book of Enoch, the Book of Enoch, and we are going to talk about. We're going to go into the dreams, the dream visions, the dream visions. Okay, so we're ready to do this, man. Ready to do it, and the last, man, you got to catch the parts. YouTube, check out the YouTube live. It's all live and free. You can subscribe if you want. If you don't, that's fine. So we're looking at Enoch now. And you got to remember, Enoch is before law. Before, the law that was divorced in Jeremiah 3. Okay? You got to remember that. Okay? This is before that. Before Noah. Because Enoch is Noah's grandfather. Okay? So you got to remember that. Enoch is going up to the Lord. And the Lord is letting him learn and learn things about all kinds of stuff. The end, the beginning, the creation, the way it is up there now in heaven, okay? The seasons, the angels, what they do, what they don't, people, unrighteous and righteous. And then don't be thinking it's to those that live right and do morally good. If they don't have his spirit, they're none of his. Don't forget, the Father hid this away. He hid the true secret away from any man. It was not made known to Enoch. The true secret. The Father has an intention, and he had an intention before a man was made, that his spirit would be in the man. Now, do you want it? Just a side note, free will decision. We all have free will decision. You sure do. You have a free will decision to choose whether you want his spirit or not. You sure do. If you want to come to God the way that he wants you to come to him, you have the choice to say, yes, I'm going to do it. I'm going to come to you, Lord, and offer myself to you to be a vessel for your spirit. Give it to me. You must give it to me. I'm here. I refuse anything else. I want your spirit, and that's it. That is my only prayer, period. Because that's your purpose, that your spirit would be in me. You gave me the decision to accept. You've given me gospel, which is good news. It has nothing about repent of sin. You can't repent of sin without his spirit. You can repent to the Lord, changing your mind, which is the Greek definition, to the Lord. You can't get saved by salvation, who is his begotten Son, which is spirit, and then turn around and point the finger at everybody else because you're saved and you have his spirit, and now you're pointing at them, telling them they're going to hell. That's not what he wants you to do. He wants you to tell them about his Son and how you were saved and how you are being changed by him, not by yourself. It is not by your works. That's Ephesians 2. Look at the whole thing, not just part of it. You are his workmanship in Christ Jesus. Father, make me your workmanship in your Son. Give me your Spirit. That's a prayer. That's the Lord's Prayer wrapped up in one. Wrapped up in that, just that fast. Because the Lord's Prayer is really about his Son being in you, which is Spirit. You got to understand that. So this is all before that. The dream visions. Helena, what do you have? What do you have? What you got? Where you at? Helena, are you there? Did I lose you? In my speaking boldly?
You didn't.
Oh, I thought I lost you in my speaking boldly. Oh, there you go again. Click. Let me hang it up. Now, he just went off. I can't even say this. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. Go ahead. What you got?
No, I had to find the chapter you were on. First dream vision on the deluge. Dream vision.
It is. Let me tell you what. I don't know what book. Your book may have the chapters in
83.
82. It says 82 on my thing. Well, it is 83. I missed the I. Sorry. Sure did. 83. That's right. That's right. You got the book, so good deal. This is free.
Yeah.
What I'm showing you online right now is a free PDF file that you can pull up and read it and study it for yourself. You don't even have to buy it if you don't want to, but if you do, buy it. This is it. So what you got, Helena?
I haven't read this particular chapter, but I remember reading some things in Jeremiah about dreams and visions and about how God communicates with people through dreams and visions.
Oh, yeah. Now,
that's about in the Old Covenant, it was just about communication.
Right. Okay. I can dig it. It's there. He gave so-and-so a dream, or gave him so-and-so a vision. And in the New, he gave Joseph a vision and a dream, or was it somebody else that he gave? I don't know who it was. Oh, yeah, he gave Pilate's wife a dream. And she told him, she woke up and said, listen, don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't mess with him. Leave him alone. And what did he do? He had to do what he had to do.
And then you let Daniel and Joseph interpret dreams for others, dreams of others that were important. So you see that in there too.
Yeah. Yep. So that's true. Now let's not take this and run with it. Oh, God, give me the interpretation of dreams. Let's not run crazy with this thing. Okay. Let's not do that. Because that's just, if you don't have his Spirit, you're none of his. That's the main deal. If the gift of dream he wants to give you, let him do as he will with you. You are his workmanship. You don't get to choose your job when you get a Spirit.
Scripturally, the dreams and the visions, they are for his purpose anyway. So it's not like every single person that's in him going to get dreams and visions. I mean, this is set up for his purpose.
His
it's like Daniel.
His goal.
I mean, someone had to interpret that king's dream.
Right.
So that he could know that. But he wasn't just going to get that to anybody. But it's for his purpose. Like you said, you don't pick it.
You don't
pick. He gives it to whom he will.
Right. That's right. And he told me, you're going to speak my truth, my son. I denied. Nope, not going to do it. I'm not going to be lying. You don't get me up there lying. And he said, you know what? You're right. You're not going to be lying. You're going to be speaking my son, the true Jesus Christ. You're going to be speaking him. No. I probably would have wanted to do something else great and glory. Let me raise people from the dead. Let that be the one. Nope. Don't want you to do that. You're going to do this. Next thing you know, years later, look at what I'm doing. Still doing it like an idiot. All right. Roll call real quick before we jump in. Roll call real quick. Linda stopped by, and Karen, how you doing? Good to see you guys. You can share it, like it. It's totally up to you guys. No problem. If you're on the YouTube, subscribe, like, hit the notification, all that. If it's up to you. Just bookmark it if you want it. It's up to you. All right. Let's see. Let's go to verse 1. You ready, Helena? You got some more? You want to throw out there?
No, I'm ready.
Oh, okay. All right. So we're going to verse 1 here. And now, my son Methuselah, I will show thee all my visions, which I have seen, recounting them before thee. This is Enoch talking to his son Methuselah. 2 visions I saw before I took a wife, and the one was quite unlike the other. The first when I was learning to write, the second before I took thy mother, when I saw a terrible, this is a terrible, bad, all right, and a terrible vision, and regarding them I prayed to the, paragraph continues, Lord. Okay, then remember the Enoch scriptures, the original ones, they were found, but they were also damaged. So that this is just translation of the ones that they could translate out of them. Okay, all right. So you got to remember that. I had laid me down in the house of my grandfather Mahalalel. I want to say Mahalalel, and I saw in a vision how the heaven collapsed. The heaven collapsed, and was borne off and fell to the earth. That's what it said. And when it fell to the earth, I saw how the earth was swallowed up in a great abyss, and mountains were suspended on mountains, and hills sank down on hills, and high trees were rent from their stems, and hurled down and sunk in the abyss. And thereupon a word fell into my mouth, and I lifted up my voice to cry aloud and said, the earth is destroyed. And my grandfather Mahalalel waked me as I lay near him, and said unto me, what dost thou cry so? Why dost thou cry so, my son? And why dost thou make such lamentation? Because he saw the earth is destroyed. And I recounted to him the whole vision which I had seen, and he said unto me, a terrible thing hast thou seen, my son, and of grave moment is thy dream vision, as to the secrets of all the sin of the earth. I must sink into the abyss. It must sink into the abyss and be destroyed with great destruction. And that's his dad talking to him. And now, my son. No, I'm talking about that was Enoch talking to his dad. And then his dad talks back to him. There you go right there, okay? And now, my son, arise and make petition to the Lord of glory, since thou art a believer. Even back then, look at there, that a remnant may remain on earth, and that he may not destroy the whole earth. Helena, I know you like that remnant talk, so I know you got something. Come on, I know you got something. You got anything? What you got?
Oh,
don't
can
wait.
you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Don't wait for me. Just talk. Go ahead.
Okay.
Bust it. Don't wait. Just bust in there.
Okay. Well, I feel like he told him this before Noah even. God gave Noah the instructions to build the ark.
He did.
So the remnant will be from Noah and his family, and then you have the remnant coming out of the house of David, from the children of faith, which remains a remnant even now today.
I would say so.
So there is still a remnant here on the earth.
I would say so. Yeah, and he swallowed up now abyss. Now you know what they call the deep sea, the deepest sea, the deep. They call it the abyss. Yeah. So the earth was swallowed up because the waters came up from the bottom and down from the sky. A torrent.
Oh, okay. I didn't think about it like that.
Yeah.
I kept thinking that.
Yeah. A deluge.
The way he said it was like the sky came in, and I'm thinking like the whole universe swept it away.
Yeah. We just saw in the previous chapters how the weather is controlled from angels that operate in portals in a 3-month cycle from portals
Yes.
that are open to the earth. See, that's why we call them dimensions. Different dimensions. That's what we call it. I'm sure the Lord has a different name for it, but
With the portal.
in His language, yeah. But it says we call it portals are opened, and that's what helps the weather do its thing. So they control the weather that way. So let's keep going. My son from heaven, all this will come upon the earth, and upon the earth there will be great destruction. After that, I arose and prayed and implored and besought and wrote down my prayer for the generations of the world, and I will show everything to thee, my son Methuselah. And when I had gone forth below and seen the heaven, and the sun rising in the east, and the moon setting in the west, and a few stars, and the whole earth, and everything as he had known it in the beginning, then I blessed the Lord of judgment, and extolled him, because he had made the sun to go forth from the windows of the east, and he ascended and arose on the face of the heaven, and set out and kept traversing the path shown unto him. All right, chapter 84. And I lifted up my hands in righteousness, and blessed the Holy and Great One, and spake with the breath of my mouth, and with the tongue of flesh, and God, which God has made for the children of the flesh of men, that they should speak therewith, and he gave them breath, and a tongue, and a mouth, that they should speak therewith. Blessed be thou, O Lord, King, great and mighty in thy greatness. Oh, sorry about that. Excuse me. This is live, y'all. This is live. Lord of the whole creation of the heaven, King of kings and God of the whole world. And thy power and kingship and greatness abide forever and ever, and throughout all generations thy dominion. And all the heavens are thy throne forever, and the whole earth thy footstool forever and ever. For thou hast made, and thou rulest all things, and nothing is too hard for thee. Wisdom departs not from the place of thy throne, nor turns away from thy presence, and thou knowest and seest and hearest everything, and there is nothing hidden from thee, for thou seest everything. And now the angels of thy heavens are guilty of trespass, and upon the flesh of men abideth thy wrath until the great day of judgment. And now, O God and Lord and great King, I implore and beseech thee to fulfill my prayer, to leave me a posterity on earth, and not destroy all the flesh of man, and make the earth without habitant, so that there should be an external destruction. An eternal, so that there should be an eternal destruction. Did anybody catch that factor there? He is praying to God to say, leave a little bit. Leave me a posterity. Not to destroy all the flesh of man, and make the earth without inhabitant, so that there should be an eternal destruction. Do you understand what he's saying there? I'm understanding something here. I'm understanding he's saying, if you destroy all flesh, God, there will not be an eternal destruction. How will man go on? Yeah, I'm right here. We're rolling. We're live.
Oh, okay. It's somewhere in the Old Covenant. It says that He saves the generations of the righteous down to 1,000. And
Yeah.
so I would believe that to be part of the remnant. Now, they're praying, he's praying that God save some. So that some, I've
Yeah.
always believed, was that generation of the righteous coming, starting from Seth all the way even down to now through the children of faith. So it's the same generation of righteous from the beginning, and it's still going on.
Yeah. I agree. Started with Noah. He picked Noah out. All right.
Right.
And I mean, I agree, but I see if he had got them all done, he said, listen, this should, Enoch understands. If you take them all out, there won't be an eternal destruction. They can't continue on. Don't do that. Save someone. Save them out. Pick somebody. Get somebody, a group, a remnant. All right. And now, here's verse 6. And now, my Lord, destroy from the earth the flesh which has aroused thy wrath, but the flesh of righteousness and uprightness establish as a plant of the eternal seed, and hide not thy face from the prayer of thy servant, O Lord. Look, this is before the law that everyone wants to put their standard on. I do the law. That doesn't mean anything. Divorced in Jeremiah 3:8. The eternal seed as a plant, establish as a plant of the eternal seed. What is the eternal seed? Helena, what you got on it? What's the eternal seed? What you got? Anybody else? Post it up. Post it up. Don't Nelson stop by. Post it up. Eternal seed. What you got?
Well, I believe that eternal seed is the seed of Abraham, which is the Christ.
That
Because the
holy.
seed is not seed. It's not plural.
That holy.
So since there's only one seed that's eternal, it has to be the Son of God, the begotten.
Switched over to the blue letter so people can see this. These are all my law people that's looking at everybody else and seeing what they're doing, posting up all the political stuff and all that, and the moral stuff. Seed, eternal seed. Whosoever is born of God, that means spirit. You have his spirit in you. Doth not commit sin. Wait a minute. So if I commit sin, I couldn't be born of God. Now, is this sin breaking law? Law was divorce. He says, I'm not even regarding that anymore. All have sinned, broken law, and come short of his glory. Jesus comes along and tells everyone, to be born of God, you need his spirit. That's the only way. And the Father's looking for those now. Now, if you have his spirit, he says you don't count it. He's not going to count it. That's Romans 4, I think it is. Blessed is the man that God will not impute sin. I believe it's 4:8. See, God imputes, he charges you with your sin, or he forgives it, wipes it away, doesn't remember it, which is the new covenant, part of the new covenant that he said. He says, look, for his seed remaineth in him. The man that is born of God gets what? This seed, this eternal seed. And he cannot sin because he is born of God. So there you go. This goes beyond what a man is saying and what he's telling you. This goes to what God said. Yeah, they're going to call me sinner. Ron, you're a sinner. That's what man calls me. Okay. God says, you have my spirit. You're not a sinner. You're born of me. You are now mine. And you have the eternal seed within you. All right, getting back to Enoch. And hide not thy face from thy prayer of thy servant, O Lord. This is Enoch praying, man. Enoch, before Noah. Okay? You got to know that. You got to realize it. Let's see, where's a... Where was I at? I messed up, didn't I? Yep. I went off the thing, this thing here. Let's see. 3. Okay, we're going back down. There it is. Okay. The second dream. This is the second dream of the, he said he had 2. So here's the second one. The history of the world to the founding of the messianic, not Mosaic, messianic kingdom. And we know who that is. So he's seeing Christ's kingdom, the begotten Son, which is really the Father. Because Christ said, I do nothing of myself. I'm doing everything everything I do, the Father tells me to do it. So I'm trying to scroll. Stop it. It's crazy. All right. Okay. And after this, I saw another dream. Here it is. I will show the whole dream to thee, my son. That's Methuselah. And Enoch lifted up his voice and spake to his son Methuselah. To thee, my son, will I speak. Hear my words. Incline thine ear to the dream vision of thy father. Before I took thy mother, Edna. That's his wife's name, Edna. I saw in a vision on my bed, and behold, a bull came forth from the earth, and the bull was white. And after it came forth, a heifer, female cow, and along with this latter came forth 2 bulls, one of them black and the other red. Hey, you know what this sounds like? This sounds like 4 horsemen. The colors. Anyway. And the black bull gored the red one. Wow. And pursued him over the earth. And thereupon I could no longer see that red bull. Okay, so that's not nothing to the 4 horsemen. Okay, I was just thinking. But the black bull grew, and that heifer went with him. And I saw that many oxen proceeded from him, which resembled and followed him. And that cow, the heifer, that first one, went from the presence of that first bull in order to seek that red one, but found him not, and lamented with a great lamentation over him, and sought him. And I looked till that first bull came to her and quieted her, and from that time onward she cried no more. And after that she bore another white bull, and after him she bore many bulls and black cows. Now, in other words, in order for her to be bearing these bulls, they had to be some type of seed given to her from the other bull. And I saw in my sleep that white bull likewise grow and become a great white bull. We got the black bull who has grown, and now we got the white bull. Okay. And from him proceeded many white bulls, and they resembled him. And they began to beget many white bulls, which resembled them, one following the other, even many. What do you think, Helena? What do you think before we go into the next one? You're on mute.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think it's describing the 2 people that I always say is on the earth, the righteous
Really?
and the unrighteous.
Let's see what we got. Very possible. Let's see if there's any interpretation of it. Let's see. Here is 85, chapter 85. The fall of the angels and the demoralization, wow, of mankind. Jesus said it. He told us it would get worse. People would get worse. Okay. And again I saw with mine eyes as I slept, and I saw the heaven above, and before a star fell from heaven, and it arose and eat and pasteurize among the oxen. And after that I saw the large and the black oxen, and behold, they all changed their stalls and pastures and their cattle, and began to live with each other. And again I saw in the vision, and I looked towards the heaven, and behold, I saw many stars descend and cast themselves down from heaven to that first star. And they became bulls among those cattle, and pastured with them amongst them. And I looked at them and saw and beheld, they all let out their privy members. You know what that is? Like horses, and began to cover the cows of the oxen, and they all became pregnant and bare elephants, camels, and asses. And all the oxen feared them, and were affrighted at them, and began to bite with their teeth, and to devour, and to gore with their horns. And they began moreover to devour those oxen, and behold, all the children of the earth began to tremble and quake before them, and to flee from them. Chapter 86. And again I saw how they began to gore each other, and to devour each other, and the earth began to cry aloud. And I raised mine eyes again to heaven, and I saw in the vision, and behold, there came forth from heaven beings who were like white men. And 4 went forth from that place, and 3 with them. And those 3 that had last come forth grasped me by my hand, and took me up away from the generations of the earth, and raised me up to a lofty place, and showed me a tower raised high above the earth, and all the hills were lower. And one said to me, remain here till you seest everything that befalls those elephants, camels, and asses, and the stars, and the oxen, and all of them. 87 or 88? I must have missed a number, sorry. The punishment of the fallen angels by the archangels. And I saw, just jump in there whenever you want, Helena. And I saw one of those 4. I saw one of those 4 who had come forth first, and he seized that first star which had fallen from the heaven, and bound it hand and foot, and cast it into an abyss. Now that abyss was narrow and deep, and horrible and dark. And one of them drew a sword, and he gave it to those elephants and camels and asses, and they began to smite each other, and the whole earth quaked because of them. And as I was beholding in the vision, lo, one of the 4 who had come forth stoned them from heaven, and gathered and took all the great stars whose privy members were like those of horses, and bound them all hand and foot, and cast them in an abyss of the earth. Wow. The advent.
It sounds like,
Yeah, go ahead. Go.
it sounds like Enoch describing the fallen ones in this earlier chapters, what they did. But he's describing them as animals now, and how they contaminated the children of earth, and they followed along with them. But that's what the angels did to the women in the earlier chapters.
Yeah, I think he's seeing
They had
that.
babies by the women. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think he's seeing too. I think he's seeing this too. Let's see. And I saw those 4 who had come forth first, and he seized that first star which had fallen from heaven, and bound it hand and foot, and cast it into an abyss. Now that abyss was narrow and deep, and horrible and dark. Okay, yeah, I read that one. I read that. Okay, it's the Advent of the seven archangels, the deluge, and the deliverance of Noah. So here we go. We got some details on this one. Some behind the scenes footage. All right. And one of those four went to that white bull and instructed him in a secret. Without his being terrified, he was born a bull and became a man, and built for himself a great vessel and dwelt thereon. And 3 bulls dwelt with him in that vessel, and they were covered in. And again I raised mine eyes towards heaven, and saw a lofty roof with 7 water torrents thereon, and those torrents flowed with much water into an enclosure. And I saw again, and behold, fountains were opened on the surface of that great enclosure, and that water began to swell and rise upon the surface. And I saw that enclosure till all its surface was covered with water. And the water, the darkness, the mist increased upon it. And as I looked at the height of that water had risen above the height of that enclosure, and was streaming over it. Streaming over that enclosure, and it stood upon the earth. And all the cattle of that enclosure were gathered together until I saw how they sank and were swallowed up and perished in that water. But that vessel floated on the water, while the oxen and the elephants and the camels and the asses sank to the bottom with all the animals, so that I could no longer see them, and they were not able to escape, but perished and sank into the depths. And again I saw in the vision, till those water torrents were removed from that high roof, and the chasms of the earth were leveled up, and other abysses were opened, that the water began to run down in these, till the earth became visible. But the vessel settled on the earth, and the darkness retired, and light appeared. But that white bull, which had become a man, came out of the vessel, and the 3 bulls with him. And one of those 3 was white like that bull, and one of them was red as blood, and one black, and that white bull departed from them. Oh. You got to do some meditating on that. Yeah.
No.
You know what I mean? That's like, wow, okay. So we see it Noah, but when he comes
White,
out,
red, and black.
Yep.
I was trying to figure out, because it said, and that white bull came out of the vessel. What vessel?
The vessel that they were sealed in.
Oh,
they were sealed in that went on the water
talk
until.
About the ones that came down like white men? That looked like white men?
No, that was the angels that came down and looked like white men. The 3 angels, yeah. So we've got Noah coming out the vessel, and then he had others in there with him, but they were all different. So and we know when he came out, one son he went and got drunk. Now nobody wants to, everybody, he drunk, he sinned. Well, listen, I take it if you had went through that too, you probably would have came out doing all kind of stuff. Ain't no telling. Because after that, I'm sure that was a mental something to be ridiculed and dogged that you're building some boat and it ain't even rained yet. We don't even know what rain is. We know what mist is. Mist would come and water the earth, but it wasn't a rain. So when he told them, it's going to rain in 40 days, they probably water is coming from the sky in 40 days. We ain't never seen water. If you look at in the King James, you'll notice It never rained until the flood. If you know, that's a factor you should check out.
Mm-hmm.
And they began to bring forth beasts of the field and bird. And this is the death of Noah to the Exodus. And they began to bring forth beasts of the field and birds, so that there arose different genera. I want to say genera. Lions, tigers, wolves, dogs, hyenas, wild boars, foxes, squirrels, swine, falcons, vultures, kites, eagles, and ravens. And among them was born a white bull. And they began to bite one another. But that white bull, which was born amongst them, begat a wild ass, and a white bull with it. And the wild asses multiplied. But that bull which was born from him begat a black wild boar. I don't know, how did he do that? And a white sheep. Oh, this is a dream. This is a dream. This is a vision. And the former begot many boars. But that sheep begat 12 sheep. And when those 12 sheep had grown, they gave up one of them to the asses. And those asses again gave up that sheep to the wolves. And that sheep grew up among the wolves. So the wolves raised it. This is his dream now. Go ahead. Just jump in.
That sounds like Judah. The 12 disciples and the one that turned into Christ for the 30 pieces of silver. That's what it
Judas.
sounds like, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, Judas. Okay, Judas. All right.
Yes.
And the Lord brought the 11 sheep to live with it and to pasture with it among the wolves, and they multiplied and became many flocks of sheep. And the wolves began to fear them, and they oppressed them until they destroyed their little ones. And they cast their young into a river of much water. But those sheep began to cry aloud on account of their little ones, and to complain unto their Lord. And a sheep which had been saved from the wolves fled and escaped into the wild asses, and saw the sheep how they lamented and cried, and besought their Lord with all their might, till that Lord of the sheep descended at the voice of the sheep from a lofty abode, and came to them and pastured them. And he called that sheep which had escaped the wolves, and spake with it concerning the wolves, that it should admonish them not to touch the sheep. And the sheep went to the wolves according to the word of the Lord, and another sheep met it and went with it, and the two went and entered together into the assembly of those wolves, and spake with them and admonished them not to touch the sheep from henceforth.
Sounds like Moses and Aaron
No.
going to speak to Pharaoh. That's
Okay.
just what it's just what it sounds like. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. No problem. And therefore I saw the wolves, and how they oppressed the sheep exceedingly with all their power, and the sheep cried aloud. Yeah, it sure does. And the Lord came to the sheep, and they began to smite those wolves, and the wolves began to make lamentation. But the sheep became quiet, and forthwith ceased not to cry. And they saw the sheep until they departed from amongst the wolves. But the eyes of the wolves were blinded, and the wolves departed in pursuit of the sheep with all their power. And the Lord of the sheep went with them as their leader, and all his sheep followed him. And his face was dazzling and glorious and terrible to behold. But the wolves began to pursue those sheep until they reached a sea of water. And that sea was divided, and the water stood on the side and on that before their face. And their Lord led them, and placed himself between them and the wolves. I'm sorry. And between, where was that? Between them and the wolves. Okay. And those wolves did not yet see the sheep. They proceeded into the midst of the sea, and the wolves followed the sheep, and those wolves ran after them into that sea. Sounds like the Red Sea. And when they saw the Lord of the sheep, they turned to flee before his face, but that sea gathered itself together and became as it had been created, and the water swelled and rose till it covered those wolves. And I saw till all the wolves who pursued those sheep perished and were drowned. That sounds like, yeah. That sounds like the Red Sea. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So basically, he gave Enoch dreams, visions about the future concerning these people that proceed forth from these bulls, these black bulls, and these wild bulls and these wolves. They're just representing people, I guess. That's why I said the righteous and the unrighteous.
Yeah.
And then, so he just seeing them as animals, which is very symbolic in dreams anyway.
Yeah. It is. It is. This is a dream he's having about this future happenings. Because remember, Enoch is before that. He's before Noah. He's before the Hebrews. Yeah. Now, here's the deal. I was watching something about the scientific proof. The scientists have tried to find out this little show about the Exodus. Okay. And they're all trying to dispel, or not, I should say scientifically explain, which really in turn dispels what God said he was going to do, and he did it. The 10 plagues of Egypt started with a volcano. That's what they're saying. The volcano erupting away from Egypt, and what it did, as the ash went over certain lands, it went into the grass, it went into the waters and all that, causing these chain of events with the locusts and the frogs and the lice and the cattle dying and all that. I said, yeah. Now they didn't get to they got to the Red Sea last. So they went through all that, and I said, yeah. But isn't it funny how Moses was told by this being, this God, right? And he went to them and said, let my people go. Nope. He says, okay, well, if you don't let my people go, bam, this plague gonna happen. And then the plague happened. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Well, how do you scientifically explain that?
Right. It's
right.
Like, why can't God control the animals and the locusts and everything else? Why do he have to use a volcano to do this when he controls everything? You know what I'm saying?
That's a good question. That's a question I would want you to ask in a study, for sure. Well, if God made the whole earth, he knows how everything works and how everything happens. Right? So if he says, okay, I know how the winds blow, I know how the seasons are, what the temperatures, humidity for it, what it needs to happen for this to happen, and I know how to do all of that. I just tell the angels to do whatever I tell them to do, and they go do it, and it gets done. Now, if I'm talking to Moses, and I tell him to go talk to Pharaoh about getting my people out, right, and he don't want to let them go, which I already knew he wasn't going to let them go because I'm hardening his heart against me because he worships another God anyway, and I'm hardening his heart against me, but I still want my people out of there. I know exactly what to do to make him say, let him go. I can pressure him, his people, his livestock, all of his goods. I can do it because all of that is natural, right? All of those things that they had, they're natural things. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I know that if I cause this volcano to erupt and make the wind push the ash and all that stuff over there, then make it rain to make the ash come out of the sky, down, cut off the sun, all that down into the water, down into the grass and that the cows eat and all that other stuff, and the insects, they got to get out of the water because the water is acid rain or lava rain, sulfuric, all that. They can't be in the water. The fish die. The sea turns red or whatever because of that sulfur compound in there turning it to red. Then, hey, I know what to do. All I got to do is do that. Just start that chain of events right there. And I can stop it at any time because I'm God. But I'm not going to let it stop because I'm going to keep his heart hard. Then when it got so bad for him, and Pharaoh said, yeah, take the people and go. Look, just take it. You're destroying our civilization. This is an issue. This is a nuisance. This is a thorn in my butt. So go ahead and take them and get out of here. So he takes them and get out. He gets the people out, and Pharaoh sees that the plagues are probably stopping and things are happening. He's getting angry about it. He's getting mad. My God lost against Moses' God because it was a battle about God against Pharaoh's God. That's really what they made it about. In the Bible, they made it about that way. My God is stronger, blah, blah, blah. This is not going to happen. Your God, I don't know your God. See, that's when it started. So his firstborn dies. He's mad. I mean, come on now. He's angry. So he says, okay, we're going to go get them. They're going to the sea. We know the route that they got to be going. We're going. Now, the scientists in this TV series, they dispelled that they even went to the Red Sea. And many other people said, oh, we're going to cross over the river. They crossed at a low point. Why they could cross over. Listen to this very closely. The reason why they could cross over is because a wind, like the Bible says, a wind from the east came and blew the waters to where they could cross over. Okay? Now this wind, think about this. This wind is blowing so hard. Now I'm saying sea because I'm not going to say the little Georgian pasture river where they can, it's, probably thigh high water. That's not what I'm talking about. Even if it was thigh high. Because if it's knee high, we don't need the water's part because we can just wade through that. We can get through it. Now we got chariots and horses coming for us. Okay, we walking. All right. So this water had to come so that they could cross because this water had to be so deep that they could not get across. Not only that, when they got across and the Egyptians went through, it said the water came back together and did what? Covered them. It covered them up. They're on horseback. Okay, so the water covered them up. It didn't say the water covered the horses or the water just got so deep that the horses couldn't go through and the men fell off and drowned. It didn't say that. It said they covered them up. Okay, so that lets me know that when the Egyptians are walking through the sea, they are looking up at the water being parted. It's above their head. Okay? So and not only that, look at this. Here's the main deal. If the wind blew so hard to make the sea push back, and then you got people walking as this wind is blowing, the wind is hitting them. Why aren't they being pushed into the water? That's a strong wind. That wind is so strong. We've had hurricanes that the strongest hurricane on record doesn't even show that the water is being parted. It's being blown onto the land, but it's not being parted. Okay? Or it's blowing so strong that it's exposing the land up under the sea. You understand what I'm saying? Now, if that's not strong enough, if hurricane winds that we have on record anywhere in the world, the winds are so strong that you can't even walk outside. That wind would have to be so strong that they're walking through to go through the sea that is pushing them into the wall of the sea, of the water. It's pushing them. If they're walking to the north and it's coming from the east, or if they're walking to the south and it's coming from the east, they would be falling to the west into the water because the wind is blowing the water from the east to the west, and they're walking from north to south. So that means they would have to be falling into the water in the west. because the wind is so strong. They didn't bring that fact out. If that water is that strong, man, there ain't nobody walking through that sea. It wasn't the wind. Well, the wind came upon the water from the east, but the water was parted by the Lord. He's the one that controlled that wind. Because when that water parted, I bet you that, you know where that wind came? That wind came from behind them and pushed them through.
Because
pushed them through the opening.
Through,
the wind stopped. It stopped.
They had no problem.
They didn't have no problem. It probably helped. Come on, hurry up. Just push them along. Come on, hurry up, y'all. Push them through the thing there while the seas are opened. The sea is parted for them. Now, when Egypt gets there, they've arrived there. The people are already going through it. No one is there at the shore when the Egypts get there, when the Egyptians get there, because they're already walking through the sea. So then they start to go down. So there's this big space between the Egyptians and the Hebrews while this wind is holding the sea up or whatever. But the people are not being blown into the sea. Not even the Egyptians are being blown into the sea. This wind was so strong to push back the sea. They couldn't get across it because it was too deep. So the scientists, if y'all try to you will do anything and say it any sweet way to try to act like you're not discrediting what happened, but it's there. And it happened. Even if it's fictional, look at the factors of the fiction. The wind blew so hard that it blew the water back, that the ground was exposed, but the people didn't blow into the water as they walked through, as the wind is keeping the come on, man. Come on. Anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to clock off like that. All right, guys. All right. Here we go. You got anything on it, Helena? What you got? Just jump in there, man. Don't wait for me. Just go ahead if you got something to say. You're on mute.
I already said it. I said when you was going through, they were going through. They wasn't being blown. They were just walking through, trying to get to the other side as fast as they can.
Right. Whether they running,
so it
walking,
have been no wind. Right. The winds were to hold the water up.
That's what I'm saying.
And then God was the one controlling that whole thing, because He let the other ones come in after Him to drown them.
Yep.
That's what He wanted to do.
Yep. Anything to discredit the Lord God, boy, I tell you, anything to make you think, they went to the shallow end. Yeah, they wasn't God that did that. Okay. Anyway, so let's go. Let's go to the next one. Let's see, how long we've been on? I don't want to bore you guys. Oh, just about an hour. We got to stop. 58 minutes. We're coming back with some more studies, man. I'm going to take a little break. And then we're going to come back with some more studies. Got some more studies coming up, man. I want to talk about, I think next I'm going to talk about speaking boldly. Speaking boldly. Yeah, that's going to be the next one. Speaking boldly. Helena, you coming back on the next one?
Yes.
Okay, cool. That speakerphone ain't doing you no justice, really. It's not. It's not doing you no justice, girl. But okay. All right, so we're going to come back, and then next week we're going to continue on in Book of Enoch. This is free. You don't have to wait for me. You can study it, man. You can come back and you can Facebook call in, talk about it, be a part of the study if you want. I mean, this is just live study. We're looking at it. I've never read it before. I have read the Secrets of Enoch, but not this one, not the Book of Enoch. So we're going to come back, man, and in a little while, in about 20, 30 minutes. We'll be back, and we're going to talk about, I'm going to talk about speaking boldly. That's one thing I'm talking about. Then I'm going to talk about fear. After that, we're going to talk about fear and demonic attacks. People want to, I bet you I get a whole lot of people on there then. Go back to the Father's purpose. They'll be like, oh, yeah, no, we'll catch it later. Okay. But demonic attacks, I'm coming back with today later on. Speaking boldly, fear, and then demonic attack. Maybe I'll put the fear and the demonic attacks together. And we'll see how that goes. We'll see it. We'll do a live study on it.
Yeah, right. You did fear.
We did. Well, was it fear the Lord or fear God? I think it was fear God. Fear God. It was a question. Fear God. Yeah. Yeah, but we want to take this topic.
And did things about we studied about demonic.
We have studied. We have talked about. We'll just talk about it real quick. Real quick. See what anyone has to say. Post it up. All that good stuff. We'll be back. Thanks.
Please allow us to extend our deepest thanks, our humblest appreciation, our greatest gratitude for your fellowship here with us, sharing the letter of the gospel, the ancient definitions of Scripture. This is Understanding the Bible.